Hi, I'm Drew Mendelow, the creator of the T1D1 app, and this is the tutorial. Welcome. So to start, it's going to put you on the login page, and we're actually going to go ahead and click this button in the bottom right to go to the register page. I'm going to enter my name and my email, and then I'm going to enter a password here that follows the guidelines below it. I'm going to hit register. And right after you register, the app will put you right into the onboarding screens. So you can see the first onboarding screen here is for your glucose unit. This will differ based on the country you're in. For the US, it's going to be milligrams per deciliter, so that's what I'm going to choose for now. Then it's going to ask you for a series of settings. The first one is your target blood glucose. All these settings should be given by your medical provider. To change it, you can hit the plus or minus, or you can just type directly inside. Next is your correction factor. Again, this is given by your medical provider. I think you can see a theme coming up. Next is your carb ratio. Once again, given by your medical provider. And then the last setting it's going to ask you for is your basal insulin. This is actually not going to be used in your calculation. This is just for you to be able to track your basal alongside your boluses. And once you're done with the onboarding, it'll give you a summary screen where you can see all the settings you entered to make sure they're correct, and then you can confirm it here. And now it's going to put you into the actual app. So this is the bolus calculator page. I will actually be back here in a second. We are going to start in the bottom right here in the settings page. So this is the settings page. You can see in this middle section here, these are all the numbers that you just entered in the onboarding screens. If you want to edit any of them, you can simply click on the row. So I can say target, click it, and I can edit it to whatever I want. Let's say 105. I save it, and now it's saved and changed. And this will work for any of the other values too, including the basal. Now, another feature on this settings page that's really cool is the multiple calculated profiles, which is right above in this top section. If you turn it on here, you can see this will give you the 4 just default profiles based on the settings you just selected in the onboarding screens. Right now, they all have the same settings, but you are able to change that on the Manage Calculator Profiles screen, which is right here if you click it. So now you can see every single profile and the basal as well. And you can see all their different settings. So right now they're all the same. So let's say I want to change this morning profile to be different from all the other ones. So I can change this target to, let's say, 110. I'll change the correction factor to 55. And let's say the carb ratio to 12. So now you can see all 3 of these values changed, but all the other profiles stayed the same. So this is really good when your settings differ throughout the day. A couple other little features on this page. If you want to rename a profile, you can click these 3 dots and say rename. So let's say I wanted it to be called breakfast instead. You can change the name. Oops. And then this is also where you can delete the profile too, if you'd like. And then if you'd like to add your own profile, at the bottom, you can click this add profile button. So let's say for this example, I want to add a profile for when I play soccer. Say soccer is the name. I can change these numbers, let's say 1 to 15. And I'll say 60. And I'll say, I don't know, 15. Confirm. So now you can see it created this new profile called soccer, which is separate from the other ones with the values that I just set there. So another cool feature really quickly back on the settings page is you have the ability to change the order of these profiles too. So you can see this is the newly made soccer profile I just created right here. If you click and hold it, you can drag down and put it in any order you'd like. So let's say I want to put it at the very end. I can drag it down. You can see it updates to the end. And I can just show you really quickly on this screen. If I go back, it goes all the way down to the end. So now that you have your settings set, I'm actually going to go back to this calculator screen in the bottom left. This is the main page of the app. So you can see first, it will ask for your profile. Since right now I have the multiple calculator profiles selected, it will show all the different profiles as well as basal insulin. If you don't have multiple calculator profiles selected and you just have one setting for all times of the day or one group of settings, then it will just show you two options, which is bolus insulin and basal insulin. So let's say for the sake of this example, I wanted the soccer profile. You can see all the settings from the soccer profile are shown here. This is the target, the correction factor, and then the carb ratio down below. So now this is where you enter your current blood glucose. This can either be from a blood prick or from a technology like Dexcom, for example. I'm going to say 155. And then this is where you enter how much carbs you're eating. If you're not having any food and you're just doing a correction bolus, like I mentioned before, you can actually enter 0 here and then continue with the calculation. But for the sake of this example, I'm just going to enter 25. Then you can click calculate. And you can see this calculated 2.5 units of insulin that you should take. You can also see right here at the bottom, the actual calculation gave 2.3, but by default, it'll round to the half unit. So that's why it's displaying 2.5. So then you can here add any little notes just for yourself later on when you look back at this log. So as an example, I can say this was before soccer practice. And then you can click log it. And now this log it button will put all that data in one log on the next page, the insulin log down here. And you can see this is all the info from that log that I just made. I will actually be right back on this insulin log, but I want to show one more thing on the bolus calculator page. So I went back here. You can see in the profile section, the basal insulin. Now this works a little bit differently than the other profiles. There's actually no calculation for basal insulin. This is just using the number that you set earlier in the onboarding process and that you can change in the settings page as well. And you can add notes as well, but this is just a place for you to be able to log it and have it with all your other data. So I can say log, and now you can see the basal insulin is logged with all my other boluses. So now this is the insulin log screen. This will show you all your different logs. Every single day, it doesn't matter. It will show every single piece of data you have. And if you want to sort it at the top, you can see this is the date range. Obviously, my logs are just from today. If I go to yesterday, it'll disappear. You can also easily look at your logs by clicking on it. So this was a log we made earlier. If I click on it, it'll show you how much insulin you took, your blood glucose at the time, and how much carbs you ate, and also any notes you wrote. And then this arrow right here above will actually show you your settings at the time of creating the log. So if you change these settings later on, this will not change in the log. This is only the settings at that time. To delete the log, you can click this button down here. And then to edit the log, you can click this little pencil icon in the top right. And this will allow you to edit any of these values. So let's say in the notes, I said, oh, that was actually after soccer practice. I can save it. And now this log's edited. You can see down here, it was after. Quick note, when you edit things, it will always show the time it was edited, just so you're aware that the calculation wasn't wrong for in a case where you edit the insulin or blood glucose or carbs. And then if you want to see the original log, you can click show original, and this will show you what it was at the time. So the last feature on the insulin log that I want to show you is actually in the top right here, the share button. This share allows you to export your data and send to either a doctor, medical provider, or even a family member if you'd like. You can see if you click it, it will give you a date range. You can select, let's say 7 to the 14th, that's fine. And then when you click this share button, it will actually create two files for you. One file will be a summary by day. It'll show you different times throughout the day and the data of the logs that you made for each day. And then the other file will just show you every single log you have, very similar to this insulin log, but it will show you all the data that you see when you click inside of one. So it will say the insulin you take, any notes, everything, all in one big list in a CSV file. So once you click this share button, which I actually can't do right now, I can't show you, but it will go to either your email app or wherever you want to send it from. Now, next up, I'm actually going to click this third tab in the bottom, which is the food library. So the food library is commonly mistaken for a big database of just a bunch of foods, which it is not. The food library's purpose is for common foods that you have all the time, daily possibly, that you don't want to search how much carbs is in it every single time. I know firsthand experience how annoying that can be. So a good example is I like to have, let's say, a Chick-fil-A sandwich like almost every single day. But I don't want to go and search how much carbs does the bun have, how much carbs does the sauce have, and all the stuff inside of it. I just want a place where I can quickly look how much carbs it was because I know I have it a lot. So I can click this add food button here. I can write the name of the food. So Chick-fil-A sandwich. I can say the total carbs, we'll say 40. The quantity, we'll say 1. And then any additional notes. This note section is a great place for homemade recipes, especially. You can add the ingredient list here or any little changes that you normally make. But the food library is very good for homemade recipes as well. And so now I can save this food and you can see it pops up here in the food library. And if you want to change it or edit it or delete it, you can click on it just like the insulin log. And here you can directly change and edit stuff and then save it at the bottom, or you can delete it here. So really quickly, I'm going to add one more food just to show you one more feature. Say pizza, 10 carbs, 1 slice, add. So now you can see I have 2 foods here in the food library. And now in the top right, this next feature is some carbs. So if I click this, this will show you all your foods and you can click the ones that you want to add, and this will add up the amount of carbs in each food. And you can see at the very top, this will show you the total amount. So this is really good if you have, let's say, ingredients in the food library and you have one recipe and you want to add them all together. Or if you're having a meal with multiple foods in it, you can add them all really quickly and it will show you in the top the total amount of carbs. So once you get this number, for example, 50 in this case, I can go back to the calculator page. And then when I go to calculate, I can enter 50 in the carb section. So now I'm actually going to go to the settings page again in the bottom right to show you one more feature. And if you scroll down just a little bit, you'll get to the advanced settings section down here. So if you click on it, it will go to the advanced settings page. And you can see at the very top is the negative correction factor. This setting, all these settings on this page should be consulted with your doctor first before changed. But I guess really quickly, the negative correction factor will allow the calculation to decrease the amount of insulin it will give you when you're below your target value. So an example, if your blood glucose is at 70 and your target is at 150, it will give you less insulin because it doesn't want you to go low. So you can turn it on or off here. This next one is your glucose unit, which there's very specific cases where you would change it, but in general, there's no real reason to change this. And then below that is the rounding section. You can see it defaulted to half unit, which is what I showed you before. You can select no rounding, which will show you exactly what the calculation gets, or you can change it to rounding to the whole unit. And then this last setting, which is really cool, is show formula, which will actually show the exact calculation that the app used to calculate your insulin right when you calculate it. So I'll show an example really quickly. So I'm going back to the calculator screen now in the bottom left. So I'm going to select the profile, enter blood sugar, much carbs. And so you can see this is the actual calculation it used to get this. And then, of course, it rounded it on the end to the half unit. So if you click this little question mark here, it will show you what each value actually is. But this formula here allows you to really be confident in the calculation. So I guess the only other thing isn't really in the app, but if you go in the top right here, this will go to your account page. So account is a really nice feature to have in this app. This will allow you to have one account for multiple people. So let's say family members, if you have a child and 2 parents, they can all share one account and have all the same data in the same account. Doesn't matter if you're on iOS, Android, it doesn't matter. You can all share the same account. And the other really cool feature of the app is that it works completely offline. So if you're in an area where there's not much internet, you can still use the app and everything like normal. And then when you get connected to the internet again, then all your data will sync up again in the cloud to your account. So that's pretty much it for the tutorial. Thank you so much for watching and hope you love the app. I really hope this just makes your life just a little bit easier. Thank you.